Hello, today we begin with agriculture in India. We take a look at what you need to study under agriculture. Indian agriculture, its importance, problems and reforms, agricultural seasons, Rabi, Kharif and Zaid, climatic conditions, soil requirements, methods of cultivation, processing and distribution of the following crops, food crops, rice, wheat and pulses, cash crops, sugarcane and oil seeds, which we will cover groundnut and mustard, cash crops again, cotton, and beverage, tea. Let us see what this farmer has to say. I am a traditional Indian farmer, and agriculture is my means of livelihood, also being the source of income for a large number of Indian villagers. Agriculture forms the backbone of the Indian economy. The word agriculture has been derived from two Latin words, ager, meaning land, and culture, meaning cultivation. Agriculture is thus defined as the cultivation of the soil in order to grow crops. I repeat, the cultivation of the soil in order to grow crops. India is primarily an agricultural country with two-thirds of its population depending on agriculture. Agriculture accounts for 25% of its GDP, 16% of the country's export, and provides employment for 65% of labor force. Significance of agriculture. Why is agriculture important? Agriculture plays a significant role in the Indian economy in the following ways. It provides food for an expanding population and livestock. It's generated working capital for non-agricultural development supplies raw material for agro-based industries like textile, sugar, food processing, vanaspati, etc. It provides a large part of the market for industrial goods, especially the farm inputs like fertilizers, pesticides, implements, machinery, inputs, etc. It also accounts for substantial portion of India's export. Types of farming in India. There are various ways in which agriculture is practiced in India. The farmer adopts different methods like shifting agriculture, subsistence farming, intensive farming, extensive farming, plantation farming, mixed farming, commercial farming, monoculture, or dry farming. Shifting agriculture is one of the most primitive types of agriculture. It is a clearing made by slash and burn, also known as jhuming. There is no plowing. Seeds are directly planted. As yield decreases after 2-3 years, the place is abandoned and they go for greener pastures. The crops which grow are hardy crops like yams, tapioca. This kind of agriculture is mainly seen in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, and Mizoram. Let us take a look at these two images showing slash and burn cultivation. The first one is a satellite image showing us fires in the northeastern part of India. All the red dots signify slash and burn cultivation happening. These areas are burning to give way to land to grow crops on. The second picture, when we focus on, you can see it in a cartoon kind of form. Okay, you choose a new site, you slash and cut all the trees. You burn the trees, then you cultivate for some time, you harvest for some time, and you abandon the old site after 2 to 3 years and go and choose another site. This is the reason why this kind of cultivation is not eco-friendly, because it leaves the land open to soil erosion. We are taking a look at the horrifying visuals of slash and burn cultivation. This is the reason why most countries, including India, ban slash and burn cultivation. It is a threat to the ecosystem. We come to the next type of agriculture or method of farming, subsistence. Subsistence comes from the word subsist, which means to survive. And therefore, here we see the farmer trying his best to manage his farm so that he can survive. Farms are managed by family members. Work is done manually. Traditional methods are followed. Farms are small and they yield just enough for consumption, very little surplus for the market. Agriculture in India is of intensive subsistive type, which we will be talking about later. Now we come to commercial agriculture. Under commercial agriculture, we have intensive agriculture, extensive agriculture, plantation agriculture, and mixed farming. Basically, this is agriculture where you gain money from. Whether you are intensively using your farm to get money, if you have large land, decided to have a plantation, or mixed farming. Under commercial agriculture, the first one which we will speak about is plantations. Farming is done on huge estates. Plantations are characterized by only one single crop, requires a lot of labor, requires a lot of investment, takes a few years for yield. It's not instant money. You have to wait for the tree or the crop. Scientific methods are used. Crop yield is sold to the market. And if we take a look at plantation agriculture, mainly we see tea, coffee, rubber, even bananas come under plantation cultivation. We now look at intensive agriculture. In this case, though the farms are small in size, more than one crop is grown. Maximum utilization by the use of effective methods like intensive labor, irrigation, fertilizers, quality seeds. This is common in northern plains, and rice and wheat are the main crops. Commercial agriculture. We take a look at extensive agriculture. This is mainly found in Punjab, Haryana, parts of Uttar Pradesh, and also carried out in the Terai region. These are large farms. Work is done by machine, so less labor. And the main crops which are grown are wheat, rice, and sugarcane. Extensive farming uses machines. The first machine we see is a sower. You can see the man putting seeds in that machine and sowing is happening. The next two pictures are of a combined harvester. The crop is cut with this machine and then it is threshed by this machine. Under commercial agriculture, we will now talk about mixed farming. The very word should give you a clue. Mixed farming means on that farm, different things are done to increase the income. So it is done by the farmer for their essential need. Apart from growing crops, The farmers engage in raising of livestock. Now, what is livestock, girls? Goats, sheep, cows, buffaloes, poultry, chickens, ducks, fishing. So, in their farms, they have little kind of tanks where they breed fish. Yield from these additional activities are sold to the market to gain an income. We now look at the cropping pattern in India. We have 3 seasons. The Kharif season, which is also known as the summer season, and the crops which are grown here are Kharif crops. The Kharif crops are sown in June and harvested in October. Then we have the Rabi crop, which is also winter crop, sown in October, harvested in March. Then we have the Zaid crop. You can take a look at the spelling. There are 2 spellings, Z-A-I-D, Z-A-Y-A-D, same thing. And they are the intermediary crops. So they're grown between March and June, between these 2 major cropping seasons. If you take a look at Kharif crop, that is your summer crop, rice is mainly grown. We take a look at the Rabi crop, it's a winter crop, wheat is mainly grown. The Zaid crop mainly has vegetables and fruits because it is in between. So mainly seasonal kinds of vegetables and fruits are grown during this time, during this cropping time. Let's take a look at the difference between the cropping seasons. Rabi, as I told you, winter cropping season is known as Rabi. Rabi crops are sown in winter from October to December. Crops are harvested in summer from April to June. Availability of precipitation during winter months due to western disturbances helps in the success of these crops. Crops grown are wheat, barley, peas, gram and mustard. These are examples of crops which grow in the Rabi season. The Kharif crop is also known as the summer crop. The wet summer cropping season is known as Kharif. Kharif crops are grown with the onset of the monsoons in June. The crops are harvested in September and October. These crops have high water requirement, therefore rice, high water requirement, either from monsoons or by irrigation. What grows during this cropping season? Paddy, which is rice, maize, jowar, bajra, tur, moong, urad, cotton, jute, groundnut and soya bean. The Zaid crop is the dry summer cropping season, which is known as the Zaid. The Zaid is a short intermediate cropping season between Kharif and Rabi, as I told you earlier. The crops are grown in the summer months, March to May. They are irrigated crops. And what do we have? As I said, seasonal. Watermelon, muskmelon, cucumber, vegetables, fodder crops are examples of crops which grow in the Zaid season. We now focus on Indian agricultural problems, the problems faced by the Indian farmer. Besides the immense usefulness of agriculture in the Indian economy, there are also a few notable problems. What are these problems that the farmers face? Soil erosion, lack of irrigation facilities, unreliable rainfall, methods of cultivation, faulty cultivations of crops, monoculture of crops, small land holdings, exploitation of farmers, subsistence agriculture, and human elements. Soil erosion. Soil erosion is not only a major cause for decreasing soil fertility, but loss of valuable cropland. The indiscriminate cutting of trees, cattle grazing, and faulty land use practices have greatly accelerated the process of soil erosion and soil degradation. Loss of soil fertility is responsible for the low yields of crops. Lack of irrigation facilities. India has the largest irrigated area of cultivated land. In 1951, 22 million hectares were under irrigation. By 1996-97, it increased to 89 million hectares, but still over 60% of the net cropped area lacks irrigation facilities and is dependent on monsoons. As such, the failure in monsoon is the failure in agriculture, and this is one of the main reasons why there are so many suicides happening by farmers. The next problem is methods of cultivation. Though a number of crops are grown in India, the average productivity as compared to other developed countries is quite low. This is because of old and insufficient methods and techniques of farming, inadequate irrigation facilities, and inability of the Indian farmer to purchase good quality seeds and modern equipment because of the paucity of funds. What do we mean by paucity? The lack of funds, having no money. This is a major problem in India's agriculture. Faulty cultivation of crops. In India, agriculture is practiced by repetitive cultivation of two main food crops, rice and wheat. These two crops deplete the soil fertility. Besides, the intensity of production of these two particular crops indicate the agricultural land use pattern. This type of farming is one of the factors for keeping the Indian farmers poor. Basically, what it means to say, girls, that the Indian farmer is used to following what his father did, following what the land always did. So, either growing rice or wheat or sugarcane. They don't want to adventure with new crops. And that is the reason why that this repetitive crop method keeps the Indian farmer poor. Unreliable rainfall. We all know that India depends on the southwest monsoons, which are erratic, unreliable, undependable. So, Indian agriculture is dependent to a large extent on the monsoons, which are uncertain, irregular, and unequally distributed. Nearly 70% of the net sown area continues to depend on rainfall rather than irrigation. That is why, when rain fails, agricultural production is badly affected, resulting in scarcity of food grains. Monoculture of crops. Plantation crops like tea, coffee, rubber, cotton, jute, sugarcane, and tobacco provide basic raw materials to industries, yet they occupy a small area. Indian farmers have shown great enthusiasm in their production. However, efforts to make them profitable are not adequate. Small land holdings are a major problem. Majority of land holdings in India are very small. Out of 98 million land holdings in India, 75 million are small or marginal land holdings. The average size of holding in India is low, less than 2 hectares or 5 acres. These small and fragmented holdings cannot promote modern agriculture. They do not generate enough income to buy new agricultural inputs or make heavy investments. Therefore, no scientific cultivation with improved techniques and seeds can take place. Small size holdings also lead to waste of time, labor, and underutilization of irrigation facilities. We come now to the human element, that is, the farmer. Farmers are poor, debt ridden, and uneducated. They do not follow modern techniques of farming, nor can they purchase modern equipment. They have no security against failure of crops. Neither do they have the capital to invest in agriculture. Subsistence agriculture, as I said earlier, comes from the word subsist, to survive. And subsistent type of agriculture is mainly practiced in India. This is because the per capita cultivable land is mere 1/4 hectare and the farm produce is just enough to sustain the farmer. This is also a cause for numerous more problems. Exploitation of farmers. Land tenure system is another important reason of low productivity in India. Under the zamindari system, the cultivator was only a tenant who could be turned out of the land. Even though zamindari system has been abolished, but its effects have not been completely wiped out. There are still present a section of landowners who act as absentee landlords and get their cultivation done through tenants and sharecroppers. Besides the tenants, a large number of landless laborers also exist. They are paid a paltry sum as wages and have to work as bonded laborers. Thus, neither the owners nor the tenants have the urge to raise production. Therefore, this is a huge problem. The land is not utilized to its maximum. A recap on the problems of Indian agriculture: unreliable rainfall, soil erosion, unscientific methods of cultivation, social and human problems in the form of farm ownership, poverty and illiteracy, and no security. Solutions: there have been discovered a few solutions to the agricultural problem in India. The Green Revolution is indeed the greatest revolution in the country, which helped to transform the economy from food scarcity to food self-sufficiency. It is the term used to describe the manifold increase in India's farm production and productivity, particularly in the case of major cereal crops like wheat, consequent to the adoption of the new agricultural strategy since the late 60s. The key elements to the new strategy includes use of large capital and technological inputs, adoption of modern scientific methods of farming, use of high yielding varieties of seeds, HYV seeds, extension of irrigation facilities, particularly groundwater resources, proper use of chemical fertilizers, improvement in marketing and storage facilities, use of insecticides and pesticides, consolidation of land holdings, supply of agricultural credit, and rural electrification. What do we mean by consolidation of land holdings? As we have learned earlier, that 78% and more land holdings are less than 5 acres, and therefore modern equipment or technology cannot be used to its maximum. Thus, let us take a look at the steps taken by the government. Steps taken by the government: make good seeds available, purchases crops at fair prices, gives loans and credit cards, makes farmers realize the importance of consolidation of farms, setting up of agricultural universities and institutions. We come to the end of the first part of agriculture, which dealt with agriculture, importance, problems, and solutions. I hope you liked the presentation. Please do give it a like and subscribe. And also watch the next two parts, which will be food crops and cash crops.